I have a big thank you to the people of La Crosse because they've given me some great opportunities.
La Crosse's mayor looks back on his 4 years in office before he leaves the position behind for good. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Martha Koloski. Well, next Tuesday, La Crosse will have a new man in charge. 24-year-old Matt Harder will be sworn in as the city's 41st mayor. Harder is taking over from Mark Johnsrud, who lost in the primary election. New at 10, Mike Thompson joins us now with a look back at Mayor Johnsrud's 4 years in office.
Well, Martha, Mark Johnsrud is a second-generation native of La Crosse. He grew up here. He and his wife now have 5 children, so their roots here are strong. But now he's having to take a new direction in his life, which means uprooting his family and moving to a different city. However, he leaves La Crosse with only positive memories and very few regrets.
I do.
When Mark Johnsrud took the oath of office 4 years ago, he had a pretty good idea of what he was getting himself into. But the transition wasn't always easy.
I've always had to work at being a politician. The administrative side came very easy for me.
Following a mayor who was very popular and well-liked, Johnsrud says he struggled in the beginning on the political side of things, but eventually found his footing.
I didn't make any promises. What I did is I told people this is what I was going to work on. And I think that we accomplished those things.
Those accomplishments didn't come without a lot of controversy, though. Nearly his entire 4 years was self-admittedly filled with turmoil, from a public intoxication ordinance to the fallout over Mr. D's and not taking bids on the downtown skywalk to a city-run ambulance service and tax incremental financing, or TIF districts. Johnsrud fought his share of battles with the court of public opinion.
It's very difficult to sometimes do the right thing for the community and not have people upset with you. You know, in dealing with this, I tried to always be firm but fair, but sometimes I think that there's a lot of people out there that look at things differently, like it's, you know, somehow they're taking it personally. I've never taken decisions personally. I always look out for the best interest of the community and put that first.
Make no mistake, Johnsrud isn't making any apologies for how he handled those tough decisions. He says he's well aware of what his critics have said about him, including being described as an introvert and having a closed-door policy at City Hall.
I might not go out on the street and go down the street and shake everybody's hand, or I might not stop into every location where people are having breakfast and shake everybody's hand, but I think I was always accessible to people, whether it be at a parade, whether it be at over the 200 speaking engagements that I did each and every year.
But not even his critics can argue Johnsrud brought a lot of change and growth to the city of La Crosse over the past 4 years, something he's most proud of during his time as mayor. But he admits it may have been too much too quickly.
We went from a public intoxication ordinance to a multifamily design standard within the rentals here, talked about floodplain, talked about fire-based ambulance. We were constantly talked about growth. All those things were constantly changing the community, and you got to give people time to breathe, to accept some of that change, and I think that we didn't do a good job of that.
Looking back, one of Johnsrud's biggest regrets is an issue that some say cost him his re-election.
My biggest regret is I couldn't provide the $20 reduction in property taxes on a $100,000 home, because I knew that if I gave that reduction and took it out of the savings account in order to do it, that I'd have to lay off 30 or 40 people 2 or 3 years down the road in the next budget process.
Those are the types of decisions that will now fall on Matt Harder's shoulders, someone Mayor Johnsrud says is very capable of getting the job done.
I wish him all the luck, and I certainly wish him the best for the city of La Crosse, and again, I think that he's got the necessary people skills, and if he can use those people skills to persuade the city council, I think he's going to be very successful.
As for himself, as he begins a new chapter in his own life, Johnsrud hopes he leaves behind a lasting legacy in La Crosse.
I hope that people remember me as the growth mayor and as the mayor that got things done, who was certainly fair, that they always knew where I stood on an issue, and that you know, I was the mayor that made change within the community, change for the better, to ensure that the city of La Crosse is going to continue to grow and be a great place for people to raise a family or to work or to live.
And John Drew's last day in office will be Monday. He starts his new position as administrator for the village of Johnson Creek, Wisconsin, in about a week and a half. And he also tells me that losing in the primary election was definitely hard to swallow, but in a sense it was also a relief for him because he spent so much time away from his family. He has 5 children, like we said, the job very demanding as mayor, and you know, there's those things, those moments in life that you can't get back, like attending one of your son or daughter's basketball games.
Yeah,
or
I mean, you do
sporting
have to
events.
sacrifice, and that's different from Matt Harder because right now he's
Single,
and no kids, and so he has a lot of time. He's probably going to need that time. But also, there's a lot more to this interview, too.
There is, and you can watch my entire interview with John Drew on WKBT.com.
All right, hey, thanks a lot, Mike.